Good morning, everybody here in the Ultimate Baby Sleep Group. It is 11 a.m., July 12th. Right, I should know yesterday was July 7th because it was 7-Eleven and all my kids got free Slurpees, which they love. Anyway, welcome. We are here Wednesday morning to go through this week's live question thread. And a lot of you are new to the group. How it works is every Monday we have a certain thread that we open up here in the group with a certain topic. This week's topic is the dreaded 4-month sleep regression. And on Wednesdays, I come in and go through some of the questions, talk about the idea, and help you gain a little bit of insight. Before I dig really deep today, I want to first talk to you about how you first know if your child is having a sleep regression and how you know if your child is having the 4-month sleep regression. Now, why is this 4-month sleep regression such a hot topic with sleep, with babies? Let's first talk about why it happens to begin with. And I talked about this in a separate sleep regressions video that was a little more general. Since we're going to be talking specifically about the 4-month sleep regression, we're going to dig really deep with this one. So, what happens to a baby's body and a baby's brain around 4 or 5 months? And I saw a lot of you posted, do all babies go through sleep regressions? Does every baby have a 4-month sleep regression? No, there's no always or never with babies. Just like pregnancy, if you Google like what's going on, if you Google, is it normal for my left toe to hurt while suddenly I'm really thirsty? It'll be like, yeah, that's what happens to everyone in their 7th month. Anything is normal. Your baby's not a machine. Some babies are drastically affected by a 4-month sleep regression. Some babies never experience it. Some babies have it closer to 5 or 6 months. But 4 months is just an average when most babies, or let's say 70% of babies, do typically experience a regression with their sleep. So, why does this happen? Okay? When your baby's a newborn home from the hospital, you can hang them upside down and tickle them and they'll still sleep. But as your baby grows older, his brain is developing at rapid paces. He is going through developmental milestones, going from seeing the world in black and white to not being able to hold his head up to being able to see the world more clearly, develop eyesight. His ears get more in tune with the world. He's more familiar with his physical surroundings. He's able to push up on his stomach. He's able to roll from stomach to back. He's able to giggle, laugh, interact. He's developing at such rapid paces in his brain. Where does sleep generate from? In our brain. So obviously your child's sleep is going to be affected. It's not two separate entities, sleep and my baby is a separate human being. It's all intertwined, okay? So what is happening here is around 4.5 months, typically this regression starts to occur. And what actually happens here is your baby's brain is starting to develop at more rapid paces. There's a lot of developmental milestones that arise within that 4 to 5 month bracket. Typically, babies do generally flip from stomach to back. Typically, they are able to learn to go on all fours and rock. Not always, depends on the baby, but there's a lot rapidly happening. Because of this, their sleep is directly affected. What happens is they're much more aware of their surroundings, like I just said a minute ago, and they start learning about cause and effect of the world more. They don't just see it as a coincidence. When I cry, mommy picks me up. They realize that it's a circumstance. When I call out to my mother, she comes. Oh, this is great. When I cry and I want her, she comes and responds to me. They're learning about cause and effect of the world. And because of that, negative habits can begin to develop. A baby that used to sometimes not be affected if you came to pick them up and help them sleep. Sometimes would need you, sometimes wouldn't need you. Sometimes the pacifier, you had to pop back in 100 times to help them sleep, but sometimes they just sleep through the night. Sometimes, I'd have a really awesome night where my baby would sleep, let's say, 8 hours straight, but then the other night, wow, I was up feeding my baby on the hour. What's going on? Your baby is developing so rapidly that he's starting to learn when he wants something, he can get it. Obviously, this is a complete subconscious conversation he's having. He's not like cognitively trying to manipulate you and say, ha ha ha, how can I wrap my mommy around my finger? No, he's a baby. But he is starting to understand that. And because of this, it can cause a major sleep regression. Now, the difference here is, when is it an actual regression, or when does it actually turn into a full-fledged negative sleep association or dependency? And I'm going to explain what those two different things mean, okay? Number one, a regression means you're a 3.5-month-old, you're a 4-month-old, you're a 5-month-old even, because it's around this 4 or 5 month bracket. was sleeping through the night, taking awesome naps, sleeping like a champ. Things were great, and then suddenly, boom, you feel like you hit a wall with your baby's sleep. Suddenly, he's up a lot. He's not teething. He's just crying for no reason that you can ascertain the reason for. He's fighting naps. Things are really out of whack with his sleep. It must be this 4-month sleep regression. Could potentially be that. Could potentially be because he's learning about cause and effect of the world. Could potentially be that he realized, hey, if I call out to my mom, she feeds me. Great. Hey, I can sleep in her bed with her. Awesome. Hey, she'll hold me all night. Fantastic. But if your baby was previously a really good sleeper, all it is a regression, and it's a matter of just getting your baby back over the hump and back to sleep. That's situation A. Situation B is a baby that was never really a great sleeper. Maybe you had a good night, then you had 5 bad nights. Like, you know your baby is capable of sleeping well, but you've still been struggling with this yo-yo of good sleeper, bad sleeper, somewhere in the middle. I know it could be better. And then it just like snowballs negatively to a really bad place. That's when a full-fledged dependency can develop on nursing, bottle, being held, being rocked, in the stroller, in your bed, like all the hundreds and millions and different kinds of sleep associations and sleep dependencies and all the crutches that your baby gets used to, because there was never really a good pattern established to begin with, and it just turned into this vicious snowball effect of fighting more sleep, being more overtired, getting more dependent on you, and then things kind of went haywire. So those are the differences. The question is how to get back on them. If situation A, and I'm sorry I'm going back and forth, okay, but if you're in situation A, where your baby really was a good sleeper and just hit a roadblock or had a sudden regression due to age or development and all these things that happen around the 4 or 5 month bracket, it's just a matter of reteaching your baby. If you had a certain sleep method that you used before that you liked, or if you were just so lucky to have an angel baby that slept magically, then maybe just go through some of the videos here in this group, do a few things to help your baby just get back on track. Luciana Marie said, yeah, that's your baby. Okay, so what I want you to do is, if you never had to officially sleep train your baby or work hard, you've just kind of hit this roadblock, but it's not a matter of things thwarting negatively and spiraling downward to this bad place. It's just a matter of being slightly off and helping your baby just get a little bit back on. So it might mean if suddenly your baby is up all night nursing, I'm going to look at your questions in a minute. I think you were in here. If your baby is up all night suddenly nursing, but previously used to sleep 8 hours, it doesn't make sense that your baby's suddenly ravenous. Yes, there are such things as growth spurts, but that doesn't mean going 8 hours to only lasting 45 minutes, right? And having to feed every 45 minutes. So, you can pick a time that you feel comfortable with and say, all right, I'm going to feed my baby every 2.5 hours and then bump it to 3 and then bump it to 3.5. We get in detail on the other videos if you want to watch them on how to space out night feedings. Or let's say a different dependency has developed, the pacifier or being held or being rocked. It doesn't have to be cold turkey, because if you never sleep trained before or never used a specific method, you don't want to suddenly start something from scratch, and your baby is naturally a good sleeper. So you might have to hold your baby a little or do different things to comfort them, but have your goal be to get them back in their crib or back in whatever their personal sleeping space is, their bassinet, their rock and play, your bed, whatever it is that the ideal sleeping space is that they were previously in, and just help them a little bit. You might have to shush them a little, you might have to comfort them a little, but we're not talking about a baby that has a full-fledged sleep dependency. We're talking about a baby that used to sleep really well, and you just want to get them back on track, okay? So that's with that one. Let me know if you have any questions, Luciana Marie, or anyone else who has this type of a situation where your baby was sleeping really well and then just went through this regression. Next situation, baby was never such a good sleeper, now has hit this bump in the road and is an even worse sleeper. This is a case where you probably have a full-fledged sleep dependency, right? Your baby sometimes slept well, sometimes lasted longer stretches, sometimes was able to sleep a little bit better, sometimes not, and now it's just like totally out of whack. You have to figure out why your baby isn't sleeping, and that you can do by going through all of the many, many videos that we continue adding here. And we also, by the way, have them on my YouTube channel and my website. I know a lot of you said you can't always access them in the info tab. You can go to the Baby Sleep channel, which is my YouTube channel, or go to my website, which has the Baby Sleep channel in it. Okay, Batya the Baby Coach, that's me.com. Anyway, if you have that, you have to figure out why your baby isn't sleeping. Do you have a routine that needs to be set up and in a better place? Is your baby overtired? Does your baby have a sleep dependency? Go back and watch all those many, many videos to make a game plan and troubleshoot, okay? Because you're going to treat those two situations completely differently because they're different babies, different temperaments, all of your babies are, but they're completely different situations. On one hand, a baby used to sleep well, just kind of hit a bump in the road. On the other hand, the baby never slept well, so you can't just expect something to magically correct when it was never in a good place, right? Let's see what Hannah said. I want to drop the pacifier. Not sure if I should wait till after this regression. She's a tummy sleeper and very restless when she sleeps, so every time she turns her head, it falls out. So, Hannah, my question to you is, which baby do you have? Did she used to sleep really well and now the pacifier has just become an issue? Or was she never a good sleeper and now it's just worse? Let me know while I come in and answer some of these questions, and I'll come back and see your comment here. Okay. I'm going to go through. There were a lot of questions this week, so I can't hit every single question up here, but I'm going to pick a few. All right, Rita, I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name right. Okay. My baby has now turned 5 months old and he sleeps long stretches at night, usually from around 10 p.m. to 6, and then sleeps a couple more hours. Sometimes he'll wake to nurse closer to 4 or 5 a.m. once, otherwise he can sleep until 7 without waking. The daytime naps are the problem. They keep getting shorter over the past couple of weeks. He'll take about 3 naps a day, but each one is just 30 minutes. Sometimes one of the naps, usually in the evening one, can be 1 to 2 hours. So this is another example of this baby who used to sleep well. She just said he used to sleep beautifully. He's giving her long chunks of sleep at night, but now the naps have gone off. That's another way that this regression can show its ugly face. It doesn't always mean night sleep. It can mean day sleep. It can mean early rising. It can mean something just like feeling like it hit you in the head, like what's going on here, okay? So in such a case here, you're going to have to rewire because all these changes are happening and because your baby's body is rapidly developing. It could be that the previous nap routine you had set up is no longer what your baby needs. Could be your baby needs more daytime sleep or less daytime sleep, or that sleep window that you've heard me talk about in other videos. I think it's in the cat naps one you can go check out. That sleep window has shifted. Your baby maybe was 2 hours before, but maybe can stay awake 2.5 hours. You have to figure out what it is that's missing, because as they develop and go through these regressions, of course their sleep needs are going to change. They're going to need less naps or more naps or longer naps or shorter naps or a different bedtime, because you have to go with the flow. So make a game plan and figure out how much sleep does my baby need and what's not really like coming together here, and why is my baby's sleep so suddenly different than it was a few weeks ago. Some babies, a 4-month sleep regression will like seriously just totally hit you on the head, like I just said. Out of nowhere, out of left field, you'll feel like, oh my gosh, my baby's sleep is in a horrible place. Sometimes it will be gradual. A week, 2 weeks, you'll see things are kind of slowly getting worse, not in a good place. In either case, nip it in the bud before it becomes a baby like this baby that has a horrible sleep regression that you have to work on teaching. If your baby's a good sleeper, just get them back to that place by figuring out what their sleep needs are, getting rid of that, little bit of dependency or negativity that has creeped in, that has come, or make sure you get their naps on better par, because it's just a matter of reframing it, shifting it, getting it a little bit better. Okay. Talia asked a question. Is it normal to get through the night wakings during the regression and then regress again? We had a week of great sleep, and then last night he was up every hour. Not sure if it's teething or re-regressing. That's a cute word. Re-regressing, Talia. Okay. So yeah, name of the game can be anything, right? So yeah, your baby could have a regression. You can get them back on, and then they get back off again, and they get back on again, and they get back on again. Sometimes with your baby's sleep, you might feel like you're taking like 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards, or 2 steps backwards, 1 step forward. Whatever it is, it's a dance. But consistency is the name of the game, because I spoke about this in the other regressions video, but the only constant you can ever rely on with your children is that they are always changing, right? They're teething. You go on vacation, they have another sleep regression. Suddenly it's a growth spurt. Suddenly it's this. So you might feel like sometimes you're in this constant, like, I like this phrase, Talia, this re-regression state. You might feel like 3 months on end, baby sleeps better and then regresses. Baby sleeps better and then regresses. And that's part of it. But if you have a solid baseline, and as long as you get them back to those good sleeping habits, it's like a rubber band. You might stretch out of line a little bit, but it will snap quickly back into place because you have that really good baseline set up. Okay. Out of left field, Samantha said. Okay. Let's see, Hannah, if you answered my question. No, I don't know if Hannah's still here. Okay, so Samantha said that was hers. Drazy, how long does this regression last? When can you say, okay, she developed dependency, or no, she's still in a regression? That's a really good question. post this in the office hours thread in Rested Moms Club, Drazy. This is a really good question because we're just getting heated up over there. It's going to be rocking over there really soon. You'll see. This is an awesome question, and it's in the membership area that we talk about in the regression space, but I'm going to answer here for everyone else too. How do you know